Okay, so hey everyone. The motivation behind this webinar was to make sure that, I've seen a lot of members who reach out. I've seen a lot of members asking some of the seniors members as well, what kind of project should I be doing? What kind of project should I be, doing in my free time, or side project should I be pursuing? Or should I be making a project for my community? Should I be making a project to help somebody? Should I be making a project in all of these to learn, or basically to enhance the resumes? And so we do get these questions a lot of times. I've seen that at the events, I've seen that in the emails, I've seen that on Slack. So we thought it's a good topic to bring up. What kind of pet projects you should be doing, how you should be mentioning these pet projects, and and basically four good qualities of a good pet project. So here we are with this webinar. Thanks so much for joining. And it's going to be a really small webinar. It's not going to be a long one, the hands-on webinars we generally do. It's going to be a small one, and we'll be focusing on a few important things you should keep in mind when you are planning your own pet project, or if you're taking out time to do this pet project. So kicking this off, the slide says Harshad Mehta, but I have some great contributions from two of our famous community members who helped me pull out some great info. They added their views on the projects as well. We'll find that out in the slides below. So kicking this off, I'll actually start with what are pet projects. So I hope most of you know what are pet projects, and why do we do these kind of projects, and what are they about. But just for the definition, pet project is something that is done for yourself. You do that to make sure that it is helping you in your day-to-day activities, or it is helping your community or your family or anybody around you. You do these pet projects. They are they're out of self-interest. They're created out of your job or work. These Okay, once again, the most important point, I think most of us attending would have this thing in mind when we do a pet project. These projects help you expand your professional skills, learn new ones, or attempt something that is new in the market, like let's say blockchain, something like this that comes up, and you are somebody who wants to try new things, want to explore what is happening with these kind of things. So you go and you try and do a pet project around that particular concept or subject, and do a project. Generally, people do these projects to improve their skills, try out new technology, as I said, like blockchain or anything that new comes up. Or sometimes you wouldn't do this. Sometimes the focus around this is just to create something worthy to display on GitHub or your resumes. So yeah, these three are the important factors. Once somebody pulls up a pet project, these are also known as side projects sometimes. So you can use any name you like, and do these and call these projects something you do on your own, you do for yourself. So yeah, moving on, I think I'll cover some of the important aspects we think about when we run this kind of a webinar. We do these kind of a project, sorry. So yeah, the next thing is I want to cover is why and what you should be doing in your side or pet projects. So I was reading through a lot of articles, understanding what experts have to say about pet projects, or what experts in our community have to say about pet projects. Do they still do these pet projects? And if they do, how do they find out time for it, and what is their motivation behind it? So understanding all these things, I came up with these three factors you should be considering when you are thinking of doing a pet project. And these are the reasons as well. So one is the hunger methodology. You learn to cook when you're hungry. So you learn to order as well when you're hungry. So pet projects are something that should push you to do something new. They should be something that helps you enhance your skills for the demand, or for the job you want to apply for, or something that interests you. So you should always think of what you want to do. I mean, you might be in a position, you might be a great backend developer, and you might want to learn Golang now to grow as a backend developer and enhance your skill set or the language domain you have. So you should know, where can I go, what is the current technology demand, and also it also includes the kind of job you're applying for. So these kind of the first thing is hunger methodology. You should understand what you need, what you want from your current status, and where do you want to grow, and use that as a factor to decide what project you should be doing. The other most important thing I found out, or I always think whenever I see a resume, is whenever I see a resume which has all the different projects, all the different things they are trying. I'm really impressed by that. And I think a lot of interviewers are as well. In fast-paced roles, employers are looking for fast learners, and pet projects in your resume actually put that thing as a standout feature in your resume. So that really shows that yes, you are a fast learner, you like to learn new things, and you're adapting and using those things as well. One thing I would like to point out here is there's a difference between a quick learner just learning about things and never implementing it, and a quick learner learning new things and then implementing them as well. So these things come really become very prevalent here. uh, and yeah, and so a project on your resume actually helps you show to the interviewer that yes, you are you have that learning ability, you have that thing in you that can actually help you adopt to various different technologies and new things. So sometimes these projects are not only just done for the demand or the things you want to move into, but sometimes they're also done uh, to show to the interviewer or to the to the community or on your GitHub or anywhere that yes, you are good at learning new things as well, and you do that very frequently. The other good thing is, we had COVID a year back, COVID in our lives, and we saw a lot of developers all around the world, even developers at Topcoder as well, build various different applications to help community members or people around there in their region or in the world as well. A lot of different apps were built to show the data, to show where they can find the resources during the pandemic. So sometimes you also build these apps to help the society, and you also build these apps to help yourself as well. So whatever your day-to-day job is, you would have seen a lot of developers. They build a lot. They kind of go and develop a lot of Chrome plugins. They have built a lot of scripts or a lot of small applications to track their times, or a lot of things developers do to or even other people, they do that to make sure that they are kind of helping be more productive in their day-to-day lives. So these three things should be your motivation, uh, to I think one of these, and these can be the why and what's of your side or pet project. So keep these three things in mind when you decide on a pet project. And obviously, and why you should be doing it also covers these 3 points, also covers that as well. So yeah. Okay. The other thing is, whenever we think about pet projects, we come to a point. I've always been asked this question that I did make this application. It is great. It is amazing. It works flawlessly. It is scalable. I'm doing a lot of scheduling at the back. There is this kind of a server. It handles error messages. It does logging as well. Great. You're doing all these great things. But when I see this application mentioned in the resumes, I feel this doesn't tell me that what all it is doing. So whenever you are putting a pet project into your resume, make sure you get into the interviewer shoes and understand that yes, your resume has to stand out of all the other resumes. So it should mention all the important things, but that is relevant for that job. If you are trying to show the learning ability, make sure you mention the things the project covered. Mention, you learned APIs, you learned how to use different things, different parts of it. Like I learned to use React components, I learned to use something else. So make sure whenever you are putting your project in your resumes, you have to understand that what the person who's going to view would like to see. So that is very important as well. More than building up, as much as important it is to build a project that is going to help you skill up and you know gain knowledge in that particular technology or gain knowledge of that particular skill. It is also important how the way you're going to write it in your resumes. So you have to understand what interviewer would like to see. For different kind of jobs, the interviewer would like to see different kind of things. So you have to make sure you know that. Make sure you mention the technologies and concepts used according to the focus of the interviewer or the person who is viewing your profile. Or if it, as I said, if that project is to show your learning ability, then you should go back and mention the technologies you learned and the concepts you understood over this project while doing this project. The other important thing, which is very, very important, is impact it created. I've seen a lot of projects, a lot of resumes mentioning that I created a to-do app in Swift language for iOS. It is very important to mention the impact that app is has created on your life or on the society or anything you wanted to use that you created that app for. So that is very important. The more realistic the project, the more impact it creates, and the better it is. So make sure you talk about the impact that, I created this app to reduce X, Y, and Z, and this helped me bring my productivity up by 20%. I was able to complete these many tasks over the. So these things are very important, because whenever an interview sees you building an application and you sees that you are tackling a problem statement and you found a solution, used it, and enhanced your application as well, that creates a great impact. So whenever you do a side pet project, these three things are really important when you mention them in your resumes. So make sure you think about and these can also be the starting point of your pet projects. When I say why and what of pet projects and why you should be doing them and what you should be doing them, you can think of these three things as well, because this is kind of a top to bottom approach where where this resume is going to go and where this pet project is going to go, and then think about what you can build. So these three things can also come into that when you think of a pet project. Any questions until now, guys? Do you have anything you want me to cover in these things, or do you have any points to share or any points to add for the audience to in the points I covered? Because I mean, of course, because in these kind of things, the more the opinion we get, the more better it is for the person going and trying to build a side project. So if you have any opinions, if you have any, I'm sure there are some experienced members in here as well. If you have anything that you want to share about pet projects, you can add in the comments, add in the chat, and then later add in the YouTube comments as well. Okay, I think I'll move on. So again, covering all the things we saw in why and how and what. I think these four qualities really define a good personal or a side project. I'm using different names in each slide. I used pet in the first one, side in the second one, and personal in the third one, because I want to make sure that everyone understands that what kind of projects we are talking about here. So yeah, I mean, the first important thing is quality is relevance. Whenever you're creating a project, it should be relevant, and this is directly proportional to the impact it creates. So make sure you're creating a project that is relevant to the audience, relevant to you, or relevant to the people you are creating for, and it uses relevant skills as well. So so make sure you are covering the skills you need, either it is interesting to you, or either it can create an impact. So make sure you are, when you focus on a project, it should be relevant. Completeness, that is very important. I've seen some projects in resumes over the years, when I start asking them about what did you do in this project, they stop somewhere and say it wasn't going that well and I was not able to concentrate on it, I didn't complete it. That's where you feel you whenever you do this to an interviewer might have questions. Did you give it up when it got tough? Are you disorganized? Did you lack focus? Or those are the thoughts that might spring up on an interviewer's mind. So you have to add a project to your resume that is complete. In fact, I should say, when you are trying to start a project, you have to make sure that you think of a project that you will be able to complete in the time you have, or in the in the kind of time you're able to take out for learning new things. So make sure whatever project you do or whatever project you add to your resumes should get completed. So you have to maintain completeness of the project. It should be interesting. So it should stand out, basically. Whenever you get to see a resume, whenever an interview gets to see a resume and sees those projects, it should stand out. So I remember I had a very interesting project in my resume, which is still being asked, whenever I share my resume internally, or whenever we share with the client company, sometimes we it is basically, why did that project is automatic parallelization tool for C language. So we kind of, in our project back at college, we created a tool which automatically parallelizes the C language code using OpenMP and MPI thing. So basically, these are programming params you use for parallelizing a code. These are libraries, OpenMP and MPI. These are libraries which actually help machine understand that yes, we can run these code and on we can run this segment of code parallelly, because they don't I forgot the word, they don't actually relate to each other, or they kind of like, they're not dependent on each other. So you can run these pieces of code parallelly. For example, a loop, you can run different iterations of loop parallelly on different machines. So if the variable is not dependent or changing the control variable. So we did this project, and it's really interesting when it certainly stands out on the resume. And a lot of interviews do, a lot of people who read this resume ask me, what did you do in this project? Even Lazy Bear asked me about this project. So so make sure your project is interesting. It is a lot of developers in the recent past did a lot of projects on COVID. So that is something that stands out as well, because the interviewer is intrigued to ask what kind of impact did it make, what did you do about it, how did you build it, and where did you really use it, and did it create any impact or not. So all these things follow in the interesting pattern. So make sure your project is interesting whenever you are trying to add it to your resumes. Uh, Again, with the relevance, I think of realistic as a thing as well. Your interviewer would like to know if you would solve a real world problem for yourself, or for your society, or your community, or your family in as well. So I think that creating a realistic project is very important, because you can then talk more about it, and you can discuss about how how you kind of created this impact, how it affected your productivity, or how it helped your family manage their photographs well, or etc. Anything that might that might help. So these are the 4 good qualities of a good personal project. Think of these whenever you are trying to build something. Think of this when you are starting something. uh, yeah. So any questions for this, guys? Anything you would like to add to it, which is very important when you think of a pet project? If there's anything, shoot it in the chat. Okay, I'll move on. So I reached out to Bills and Cystic, and I took out some of the brain of my brain as well. And of course, you can find a lot of pet project suggestions online. And not only that, we've started a channel on Slack. We're going to share it at the end of end of this deck. You can go into that Slack channel and start discussing and with the projects you have. And personally, I love talking about personal pet projects and what you're trying to do in that. That's why I love being on hackathons as well. So you get to discuss the ideas, you get to things you can implement, and the important things that should be a part of the project as well. So we'll talk about that thing, but here are some other suggestions you can start your pet projects with. So in development, we divided the projects into small, medium, and large. You can create a word search game, basic app development. It can be hybrid or native, whatever technology you want to learn. You can create a word search game. You can create a to-do list app, which is very basic, and you will find a lot of tutorial videos as well all over the web to create your to-do list apps. And I think create it in a way that you start using it yourself as well. That would be something you take back from this webinar, that if you're creating a to-do list app, or if you have created a to-do list app to learn a technology, make sure it is useful for you as well, and you're using it. That is when the real purpose of a side project is accomplished. Twitter bot. This is very famous today. You learn you learn a lot of things when you develop a Twitter bot. You learn about bots. You learn about how to access Twitter APIs. You learn about OAuth access APIs as well. OAuth APIs as well. So this is gonna help you learn about authentications and APIs. So do you see that when I'm talking about these projects, I'm mentioning the things it covers? So that is very important. Whenever you discuss these projects, it is very important that to mention what concepts are you learning out of this. So make sure so in a similar fashion, we have if you have good amount of time, let's say a month and a half, you can do a medium level project, which is like job opportunity aggregation app. You can do some UI as well. You can do some backend as well. can be an API, can be web crawler. A lot of things can be done when you do this kind of a project. Bills mentions that a large project which you can certainly do at this point of time, because the world is growing, in the e-commerce industry is growing and a lot of e-commerce apps are coming up, physical stores are closing down, a lot of things are happening on digital side of commerce. You can certainly go ahead and make an e-commerce website. You learn a lot of things. You will develop microservices, you will develop APIs, you'll use APIs, you will also get to use distributed systems. That is something that is an in-demand skill these days, because a developer who understands distributed systems is one step ahead of other developers who are applying for the role. So you understand message queues, which is another concept, Kafka, message queues, etc. You learn front end, you do testing as well. You basically, if you're developing, again, this is something, if you want to, you just don't make an e-commerce app to just for fun. You can also use it for some of the things, or sell it to a friend, or kind of do some testing on it to make sure that it is supporting high concurrency. Bills mentions 1 million queries per second. This is something that a very industry standard. So when you build this kind of an app, make sure you cover all these things. That's what he's trying to say here. In design, we had Systic mention these amazing projects in design, what you can add to your portfolios, design apps. Of course, I'm not somebody who's gonna tell you what kind of designs you can make to get a job in design, but we have this community who always comes up and gives us these ideas. I reached out to them and they came up with these amazing suggestions. So for design, you can, if you want to do something small, you can do an informational web app, mobile app, with static contents, articles. For a medium-sized project, you can take up a mentorship program app. You can take up a food delivery app. For the large projects, you can do, data visualization is something that is big and coming up really big. So, KPI metrics are visualized effectively. The kind of how you show the data, you probably might have to go back and understand some of the statistics and some of the, what kind of charts are used there as well. So these things are, so data visualization, data storytelling, those kind of apps are, those kind of things in your portfolio are going to enhance your profile for, dashboarding kind of designing jobs as well. Again, there's another app which is plant watering IoT app. Again, IoT is a new skill, and if you're trying to, this kind of an app, I'm sure can help you understand how do you showcase the data you get from IoT, the integrations you do from IoT kind of devices. So this is again a very niche skill, and the IoT world is growing, so you can use this as well. From data science side, we are going to launch a competition very soon on Databricks. So I used the data sets we used on that competition. It's a skill builder competition. We already ran that in December. We're going to relaunch again. So GitHub archive analysis and New York parking analysis. So when I did a big data engineering course a few years back, and they gave me New York parking data, and I love that. So we were able to analyze that data in a very, we got some good problem statements online to analyze that data, do some charting, do some good Hive SQL querying. So which really made us understand how these databases work and how fast they are. So I mentioned these two, and I love GitHub archive data. That is very amazing for all the developers to take in and analyze what kind of technologies are happening, are basically happening at the moment, and kind of these, how are these technologies faring, or is there are the reputations going down? So you can use these things. And of course you can also, I didn't mention, I don't want to go too commercial, but you can also use Topcoder APIs and Topcoder data to analyze them as well. There is a lot of SRM data. There's a lot of challenge data we have. You can use all the public challenge APIs and public SRM data to take in and do a side project as well. I mean, there are other big, medium, large projects as well. I can just stop here, but there's a lot you can do with a data set. You can, and the things you can learn. So if you are not familiar with text kind of analytics, you can do something like Telegram channel analytics. You can do something with text. You can do Panda. You can learn NTLK, all the libraries, all the famous libraries we have. So it's up to you, basically. What do you want to learn? Why do you want to learn? And will it make an impact on your resume? Will it make an impact on the interviewer? Is it realistic? Is it relevant? Will you be able to complete it? All these things can factor in. These are some of the examples we got from the experts you can pick up, but I'm sure you might have a lot of different things, a lot of problems you face in your daily life, and you would like to solve for yourself as well, build an app to solve that problem for you. So these are some of the examples, and we have a question in chat. Can you share some of the resume templates? So the next 3 slides are going to show you how do you mention these kind of projects in your resumes. So we'll start with design. Basically, it's actually mentioning in the project in a very detailed manner, and the things and the kind of things it covers, consistent with the UI elements and all the important things that should be a part of your project on the resume. So basically, on your resume, when it comes to your resume, you have to make sure that you are mentioning that what was your thought process, what kind of designs, what kind of why are you showing this data. And I might be going a little weird here because I'm not a designer, but I have this from Sysdig. So this is so whenever you're mentioning your design project in your resumes, you have to mention the problem statement and how did you solve the problem statement, and what that problem statement what was your thought process behind solving the problem statement. As a designer, you have to show how were you able to understand the problem statement, and how did you solve that problem, and show that in your parts of design. When it comes to development, again, it's basically mentioning that what kind of things you use in your bot. Was it API access? What kind of things you kind of, I think this does not probably, this mentions the app, but I think the one I have in the next one actually covers what kind of things you should be including in your resumes. So when I talk about a data science project, make sure you mention data source, you mention the libraries, you mention the other things that you worked on as well. All these things are very important to mention in your resume, and mention in a very small statement what did you do, and then tell about the things you analyze. So I mentioned a lot of things here, the kind of things we analyzed in this Telegram channel's analytics system project. But you can make sure you cover the important parts. You sometimes you won't have space in your resume to cover a lot 100 of things, but make sure you are actually adding the most important things that are relevant for the interviewer to see. So for example, in this project, like let's say I've applied for a job that is more of data science analytics role. There is more of an entry level role. So I would go ahead and mention that yes, I was able to fetch the data from API. So that's why I've clearly mentioned the data source here. Then you mention the libraries to tell the interviewer that yes, you understand these libraries. Then you also tell I also mentioned Heroku and Node.js because to make sure that the interviewer understands that yes, I have some competency on these technologies as well. I can build end-to-end data apps as well. And then at the top I mentioned I mentioned a lot of things, but you can kind of contain it down to what we're going to talk about. I can say that I built this project to analyze the daily number of viewers on my project, the daily number of sharers on my project, the mentions on my project. Or if you can also condense it to understand that I kind of I did this project. This project was to understand the channel activity of my of my channel, of my Telegram channel, and it helped me understand the viewership. It helped me understand the interactions, the engagements, and which basically made me make a decision on how many posts or how many what kind of engagement should I be doing. So what kind of so you can mention it. You can mention as I said right in the beginning, you can mention what your project achieves and then impact it created, that it helped me grow my audience by 30%, or it helped me grow my engagement by 20%. It's very important to mention that impact line and then talk about it in your interview. So yeah, so this is something, we have expanded with whatever we have written about the projects is basically details about those projects, but whenever you are mentioning it in your resumes, you have to mention in a single line what you created, why you created, and then how it helped you in your goal. So in your it should just not be created a website or created a service. That's it. We're using this. No, it should be created a website to help me do this analysis, and then also help. Then eventually, because of the analysis I did, I was able to grow the data. I was able to grow the engagement by 30%. So that becomes an important factor as well. Make sure you mention that. And other than more than that, I think very similar to, I mean, I should say equally important to that is with that is mentioning the data source, the libraries you use, the technologies you use, because whenever you're applying for a role, these things would also come into the interviewer's mind when they look at it. So this all these things would have to go in your resumes. We'll also kind of, I can also kind of if you there's a channel we have started on Slack, community Slack, which is pet projects. You can I can come up with, whenever I see a good resume mentioning a good pet project, I'll kind of copy it and share it with you guys to get an idea of how it should look like and how you should be mentioning it. Okay, yeah, as I said, how to start, collaborate, and get feedback. Building a side project just by yourself, thinking or searching everywhere, might be a good idea, but it is always good to go back and discuss the project with other people. That is really gonna help you, kind of get the good feedback, get the feedback from the experienced developers, what they would want to see in this project, what they would like to know, and then kind of go ahead and build it. Also, when you are done with the project, you can mention, you can take out the resume text you are trying to mention in your resume, share it with everyone again as well. So the good part is we have a big top coder community with all the experts, with so many experienced members who can certainly go back, give you feedback. This is how you should be mentioning it, this is how you should not be mentioning it, and these are the important things you should be thinking in a project. So we have this Slack channel. It's pet projects. I'll just copy the link and share with everyone. You can join this channel and share your pet projects, share what you're doing. We also had some great articles written on Thrive by Prab Simran. He's a member. You can find him on Slack as well. He did some great pet projects with Raspberry Pi in the recent past, and he wrote some articles on Top Coder Thrive. So you can, once you do these pet projects, we would love to invite you and write these articles, write your experiences, how you build that, what kind of problems you faced on Top Coder Thrive for us, and share the experience with all the members. So this is all what I had. Join this channel, and I think we can start discussing pet projects. I have a pet project in my mind, which I'm certainly trying to find some time on, and then trying to find some time and then go and do that. And I want to learn some new technologies as well while I do that pet project. So I'm kind of going to go back and share that problem statement in the channel, and I would love to have every one of you providing me good feedback around it. Anything you have, if you like it, if you think it's going to work, if it's not going to work, or if you think there are apps existing around it, so we can learn something from them, do share when I share my pet project idea in the channel. And then of course you all are also welcome to share your ideas, and we would love to provide feedback, references for you to go back and look. This is all what I had, guys. If there's anything you have to share with the community, with the members who are watching this webinar or who are going to see the recording later, put it down in the chats. And I hope you liked it. I hope it was useful, and I hope to see you make more pet projects. And if there's anything, you can shoot it in the chat or shoot it in the Q&A, and we'll discuss. And Sharad, yes, I know I probably should have prepared good resume templates out there, how you should be talking about those projects. But I'll whenever I see a good resume template talking about a particular project, or if you have a pet project, you can share it in the channel. We with the community will kind of try and enhance your project description for a resume and help you make it better for your resume. Yep. I think I shared the, yeah, let me share here. Yes. Yeah, you can join this channel. I think now you should have the link come up to you. Yes. You can join this channel. I hope to see most of you join in and be a part of the discussions, and let's build something cool. While we all are developers, we like to make something cool and discuss about it as well. So do join in, and discuss, share your projects. Yes. Kind of, this is all what I had. I said it's going to be a short one. It's a short one. So, but again, this channel is for us to come back and share the details or anything you have for the project. This is all what I had. I hope you found it useful. Do remember the 4 qualities of a good project and what should be your initial thinking of why and how, what you should be doing this project. Yeah, and yes, we will we'll I'm more excited about the post webinar discussions in the Slack channel. See you in the Slack channel. Thanks guys. Thanks a lot guys for joining. See you. Bye.